read the verses to you for itself, you think? Or you should get a copy and read it for yourself. It's like you should read the Bible for itself. Paul said, I'd rather for you not to be ignorant, folks. Now, Christ died for all. His grace covers all. But Jesus will tolerate no other religion, no other faith. He said, I am the way. John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. Acts 4:10. There's no name under heaven that man might be saved, save Jesus Christ. No other name. Not Islam, not Tankama Buddhism, not Confucius, not Catholicism and the Pope, pedal Pope. Excuse me, Pope, pedal Pope, I'm confused. Only Christ, and no other cult. Only Christ centered all authority within himself, as you heard me teach on for years. Get my teaching on the resurrection. Get my teaching on all of it. What it really means. The cross, what it really means. The real Jesus in the Bible, I think was one of the titles. Who Jesus really was. He was offensive. They crucified him because he said the Jewish leaders of that day, the high priest, Ananias and Sapphira, they crucified him because he said he blasphemed. He did say, I'm the Son of God, I'm God. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. The Trinity. And all three are one. Oh, come on, preacher. You really believe that? Yeah. I believe it. Do you drink water? God created water. Water is an element. Water is both a liquid, a solid, and a gas. It's liquid, it's ice, and it's gas. But it's one element. Why couldn't God have created water be three in one? Never a problem with it. The sun that you see every day is 3 in 1. It has gamma, ultraviolet rays that you don't see that affects you, me, and everything living on Earth. It's giver of life, but also you get too much of it, it can kill you. It also has a yellow ray, a light ray that you can see, and a heat ray, a red ray that you can't see. It's 3 in 1. Why can't our God be 3 in 1? That created the sun and the water. Now, it's just as blasphemous to deny God as it is to define it. Just giving you simple man's view. Because God is way deeper. Paul said, we look through a glass darkly, and when you're in heaven, we'll know who God really is. It's too small for our finite minds, our earthly plane. Too big for our little pea brains to conceive how vast God is. All you got to do is look up and try to count the stars, and you get a clue. He said he named all the stars. God got a name for every star. There's billions of stars. And I'm told many galaxies that ain't been spotted yet by any telescope. That's how vast God is, how big He is. That's why you're to bow to Him. He's bigger than you. You out there with egos on the size of planet Jupiter. God's bigger than you. Bow down to Him. Now, I went on and on and on. And let me get back onto the message of Joshua. Now Joshua was one that dotted his I's and crossed his T's and did what God told him to do. Now to give you a little backdrop of Joshua, Joshua was born a Hebrew slave. Joshua went through the 10 plagues. Joshua went through the 10 plagues of Moses. Joshua went through and seen the miracles and the Red Sea parting and the drowning of Pharaoh's army. Young Joshua was right up under Moses, learning. He became a commander of God's army. He was green up until that point. He got tested when Moses told him to choose men of valor to go fight the Amalekites. Now the Amalekites was Esau's descendants that were sworn enemies. They were sworn enemies of Israel. They were pagans. They hated Israel guts. They were a violent brood. There was no peace with the Amalekites. As they had no longer left Egypt, going through the wilderness of sin, and they came to a place called Rephidim, a place of rest. They complained to God that they had no water, because there was a drought in the land. And God split a rock and gave them water, enough water for 2.5 million people to drink, 2 or 3 million people. Now, no sooner than they gulped down the water, here come the Amalekites attacking their rear flank. Now, what was at the rear flank was the old and the feeble, men and women, children, babies. That's what they attacked. Sound familiar? Unprovoked attack, killing and slaughtering of the innocent. Killed thousands. Now that really pissed God off. Where He swore in His wrath that He was going to wipe this evil brood that attacked innocent men, women, and children with their terrorist attack. He was going to wipe their name from under the sun. Wipe out the men, women, children, babies, cattle, burn everything up. God had that in His mind. Now, Joshua, who was a sword of the Lord, assembled an army, and they fought, and they went to war. Now, we're going to read, I'm giving you the backdrop because I'm skipping, because I want to get to we're going to go to, let's see, I was in such a hurry, I'm going by memory. Let's see if we can, I'm look at 2 places, but turn to Joshua, the book of Joshua, chapter 1, and I'll probably read this. In the minute, or I might skip it. I already told you everything. But anyway, Joshua, if I don't find it, I didn't mark it. Joshua held, or as Joshua fought the war, Moses went up a hill and held up his staff. And Moses started to get tired because the heat of the battle went on all day as the sun started to set. His arms started to drop. And Aaron and Hur ran up the mountain to hold up Moses' arms as he held the staff up. Because when the staff lowered, Joshua and his men was losing the battle against the Amalekites. But when they did that and held his arms up, they got victory. I couldn't find it right now. My probably good if it popped in my head, I'll go back to it. But they got the victory. They beat the Amalekites, but that was not the total end of what God had prescribed, what I just told you earlier, where he wanted their name wiped from under the sun. That was just one battle. God wanted to win the whole war against the Amalekites. He wanted them wiped out because sometimes if you got somebody that's a sworn enemy, now what's in the Quran? There's a lot of oaths and a lot of swear. And like I stated earlier, Hamas is definitely committed to their religious faith, their religious belief. Now, the Bible says in the book of Deuteronomy, I believe 25, God said he'll bless those that bless Israel and curse those that curse Israel. Now, their whole religion curses the Jew and vows to kill the Jew where they see. They are practicing their faith, Hamas. As any other splinter Islamic sect groups, terrorist groups over there, all terrorists. They're terrorizing them. The God Allah is the chief terrorist of their faith. The moon god has been around thousands of years. It's a conquering religion. Been around for thousands of years. Nothing new under the sun, the Bible says. Now, when you coexisted, just imagine, I'll put this in simple terms that anybody can understand. Imagine that you have a house, and in your backyard is someone that hates your guts and constantly throwing rocks at your house while you're sitting in your house. So you try to build a fence so you can have a little space, but he has his space in the backyard, but he's still hurling rocks over the fence. You get no peace. He's cursing you, yelling at you every chance he gets. He threatens your wife and kids with violence. This is what Israel's doing in Gaza. Which all that land was given to Israel. From as far north as Syria to as far east as the Euphrates River, as far west the Mediterranean Sea, which encompasses Gaza. As for south as Jordan River, desert, excuse me, Arabian desert. Far south is Arabian desert. All given to Israel. Now, you got to understand, we're talking God mapping out this land for Israel. There's been war. This is called the Holy Land. That's why the title of this is a holy war. Because if you follow ancient integrity and history, this little swath of land has been a fulcrum of many wars of ancient kingdoms since the beginning of time. And nothing's changed. The Valley of Megiddo have seen many wars. It's going to see the final war of all nations come together, called Armageddon. And many wars have been fought in Megiddo. And this land, it's amazing. Has been the fulcrum of power for thousands of years. Because God took that land and made it his own. Therefore, Satan is the prince of the power of the air and his minions. Well, we're about to read this for yourself. God chose that land, the land of promised land, the land of milk and honey. Swore it to Abraham. Told him wherever the soles of your feet touch, march around, it's going to be given to your descendants. Abraham didn't own a square inch of land. He bought some caves from the locals to bury his dead. I believe it was Shechem. But he didn't own a square inch. Wherever the soles of his feet, so he walked what was equivalent to the state of California. It's about the size of Israel. That's how far he walked. In a circle. And that was to be given to the 12 tribes of Israel. And Judah was to have and retain the capital, Israel, Jerusalem. Now, Satan knew the prophetic implication. These people were called to be God's oracle people, to bring forth the Messiah. That's why there's so much hate for the Jews, because that was fulfilled. What the Revelations is talking about. Now this book here is a book of war. This is a war book too. God's war book. God is a God of war. And we're going to read two different verses that prove that. I'm going to get to Jeremiah. But I'm enjoying this kind of teaching because I want to wake you up to the reality of war. This is holy war. This is war between religious faiths, between Islam and Judeo-Christianity. And believe me, this is a war book here. And just like the Amalekites that I just mentioned, where they refused to be peaceful people. They were pagans. They refused to be civilized. And God's answer for what was God's answer for that? See, this is dealing with the humanism of today. This is dealing with the milquetoast Christians of today. I know it's a hard pill as well. Well, Brother Jay, that sounds like God authorized genocide. Well, in the case of the Amalekites and the Israelites, it was kill or be killed. We're in a nation of the Second Amendment, folks. It's a Christian nation, but sorry for you conscientious objectors and pacifist Christians out there. We wouldn't have had a nation without gunpowder and a musket. Christians wouldn't be free. You wouldn't be free to be a Christian. You'd be under some form of tyranny and slavery. It's happening now. They're trying to take away the Second Amendment rights. I'm a Second Amendment Christian. Without that Second Amendment, all the other amendments in the Bill of Rights might as well be toilet paper. It's what it's good. It's what it's good for, basically. Because if you can't enforce it, why this nation hasn't been taken over yet. And this is what the Jews are facing: annihilation. They were attacked unprovoked by religious zealots that are truly, and I said, they are truly practicing their faith. They are truly believers in Islam. They are truly following in Muhammad's footsteps. Yes, they are. And many of them have died with a Quran, holding a Quran in one hand and the AK-47 in the other. And probably the last thing that, as they left this earth, they said was Allahu Akbar. They were serious, folks. They mean business. And God bless Netanyahu for having the cojones, for having the intestinal fortitude to stand up and recognize tyranny, to recognize no different than what the Nazis. Matter of fact, Hitler was a great fan of Islam, praised Islam, went over to the Middle East, had a ball with him over there. They're all on the same page. Annihilate the Jews. They didn't have any problems. He praised Islam in the Quran. They're all on the same page. That's what you're dealing with, folks. Fascism in a religious flock. Fascism in a religious flock. With a religious flock that's following. If you can get that, you get much rid. There's a flock of goats. Wild goats today. And they mean business. Now, let's get to Joshua. I know I done laid a lot of groundwork. Now, after the death of Moses, the servants of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over to Jordan, thou and all thy people, unto the land which I do give to them. God took the land, and like he promised Abraham, and drove out all the ites, the Canaanites, the Jebusites, Perizzites, the Hittites, all the ites, Ammonites, the Amorites, all the ites, drove them out of it, and gave the land to his people. It's God's earth. He can do what he wants. You to understand the Bible. It's the whole idea of being God. He said a cattle on 1,000 hills belong to me. He can do what he wants. It's his earth. He can give it to whom he wants. Satan, according to 2 Corinthians 4:4, is only the God of this earth, but God's permissive will. He's operating within his permissive will. But he's going to shut him down one day. He's going to be thrown into the lake of fire, according to Revelations 20:10, I believe. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that I have given unto you, as I said unto Moses, from the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, from the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, unto the great sea, toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. That includes Gaza Strip, that the squatters are claiming is their own. God gave it to his own. There shall not be any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so shall I be with thee. I will not fail thee nor forsake thee. This is God's promise. Be strong and of good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land, which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from the right hand or to the left, and that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. The book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, and thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then shalt thou make thy way prosperous, then shalt thou have good success. Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee, wheresoever thou goest. Then Joshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, Pass through the host, and command the people, saying, Prepare your victuals, for within 3 days ye shall pass over the Jordan, to go and possess the land, which the Lord your God giveth you to possess it. Now finally, well, let me give more of a backdrop. Joshua was 80 years old by the time they reached the promised land, because he was part of the 12 spies that Moses had sent to spy out the land. 10 of them brought back an evil report. It talked about there was giants. And that's why God kept saying, be courageous, be courage, because the people was afraid of the giants. We talk about the 10 to 15 foot giants. They said, we be as grasshoppers. And since they brought an evil report, the people's hearts were filled with fear. They didn't make it to the promised land. God swore his wrath, that bunch wouldn't go. Everybody under 20. So Joshua had to march round and round for 40 years until that faithless bunch fell off. And he brought in a new crop. And they were anxious to get into the land after that long trek, seeing what happened to the previous generation. Now God took the land from all the boundaries I just read and told you earlier, just reiterated. And that is the land of Israel till this day. God hasn't changed his word with Abraham. Now you got squatters that want to split the land up. But God is not with that. And they're not going to peacefully coexist with that religion. I'm sorry. It's never going to happen. It's against their religion. So it is all. Coexist peacefully with infidels. Now, I hope you're learning something here. And I hope you get in the mindset, especially you feeble, milquetoast Christians, that this is a holy war. This is a holy land. God promises, and he will fulfill his promises. And there's been many miracles reported of angelic warfare because it's a holy war, I keep telling you. And I'm going to give you a little, I'll give you a little bit of Joshua, but we're going to go, God had told, and this is not the message I already taught on Saul versus David. That's not the message. I'm just going to read this little part. And you can get that, that message for yourself. Turn to 1 Samuel 15, verse number 2. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, Jehovah Sabaoth, the Lord of angelic armies. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel. God got a long memory like an elephant. Well, longer than an elephant, he made the elephant. But you know what I mean. Now God's remembering things. It's not good when he says, starts out like this. When he said, I remember something he did. I remember that which Amalek, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel. How he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have. Good old loving Jehovah. Destroy all that they have and spare them not.